Alright, so this video is going to talk about spreading. So in the last video I was talking about just some useful mechanical stuff, but now let's actually get into more of the nitty-gritty here of the concept of spreading. Now you're looking at Sol, who is probably the spreading king in this game next to Paradigm. So what the hell am I talking about when I say spreading? Well, you probably see it if you watch any high-level game, especially if you watch like older matches of people playing as Sol, is them just picking up a drill, picking up another drill, and just placing them all around the map and just spamming drills. Essentially, this is called the Drill Queen Rush. Basically, the reason why Sol can do this so well is because he's Sol. He can deal a lot of damage and just deal with a lot of stuff on his own very, very efficiently. So, because his servants are so weak, this strategy of just doing a lot of stuff behind enemy lines is very, very important. So, generally speaking, with characters that have weaker servants or characters that are able to get certain servants up quicker than normal, or if you're at a disadvantage, spreading is a very smart idea. A good example is Izuna with his Namahages, or Kai and Sin with Gauntlet Bodies. If you're behind, you can spread out the Gauntlet Bodies and have them go back to the back line, and having them just sit there by themselves without any contestation, especially since they have a lot of HP, with the Ghost Buff applied, they can take a very long time to kill, and they waste a lot of time. So it can be a good distraction, it can be a good, you know, sort of a body block, but it also can be used as a good income. Now, the question I usually get, and somebody asked me this before, is what's the point of opening strategies? What's the point of me running down here, 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 whatever, if my opponent is just going to do the same thing and mirror my actions? Now, there was a topic I was reading on this on a Japanese blog site, which I don't think is updated anymore, but it still had some good, useful stuff. It actually had a lot of Sin-Kai matchup knowledge on that site, which was really cool to know. I might actually link that if you want to see it. Basically, he gave this sort of analogy. Let's say I have Ghost 7 and Ghost 9, and I make placements at Ghost 8 and Ghost 10. I control these two ghosts here, and these two ghosts are neutral. Let's say now I'm playing as Kai, and I run back to destroy this unit here, and then this unit down here. While I'm taking my time having my servants deal with myself deal with these servants here, Sol is making mana from these two, and I'm not making neither of us are not making anything from this. So he's gaining mana here while denying mana over here. If I make placements on his side and he's making a lot on my side, we're both denying each other mana, closing the mana difference as opposed to him having the advantage. So the whole idea is this. You're hoping that you're able to get an advantage on your opponent, or more or less win against them in some sort of confrontation, and now you have an advantage if you won the fight, and now you have a bigger mana difference. You have more ghost control than them, if that makes any sense. So generally speaking, yes, you're going to probably mirror each other with the slim chance that you're probably going to come out on top, because the rewards for being successful at it is too great. It's not worth ignoring it at all. This is also true when going up against a Sol who's going to love to just run around, you know, come over here, put a drill here, move on. Knock away a guy here, put a drill here, move on, etc. Sol's going to be doing this a lot to try to get Queen out as fast as possible, right? So when you're playing against a Sol or somebody who's being aggressive like this, it might be a good idea to try to counterplace them on their side to make up the mana difference, and to also kind of distract them and have them have to run back and defend their spots. You see what I mean? So this is like a very important thing to keep in mind. And it can be very powerful if used correctly. Now, there's also the idea of overspreading. Sometimes you might be too aggressive with your spreading tactics, and you probably will, your servants will just die very quickly. Especially when you're playing against characters like Sin and Kai, which have very strong servants, and especially Sin, who relies heavily on his tension. Constantly stopping and starting and spreading out your units when you can be more effective grouping them up together might not be the best strategy. It might be better to have them all group up here and then have them make a giant push and then start spreading them out on the enemy side. You know what I mean? So, while spreading is a very, very aggressive strategy, especially when you're playing against somebody like Solar Paradigm, which can deal with servants very fast, there can still be the chance of overspreading and having all of your servants die very fast, with you not really being able to do anything about it. So that's the best way I can explain it for anyone just curious and asking, like, what's the point of doing that if the opponent's just going to do the same thing? It's for the chance that they're going to screw up or that you're going to catch them out. Because, like I said, if you have the advantage, you're going to win. And you're going to guarantee your opponent's going to do it, so you're going to mirror their actions and make up the mana difference. And likely, if your opponent is starting to spread on your side, you can either defend your positions to get them out of the way, which is what you should be doing, or also counter-spreading to ensure that you're making up the mana difference as well. So it kind of goes hand in hand, and depending on the matchup, especially if you're playing against Sol, you're going to be wanting to do this a lot more, because he's going to be very aggressive to try to take over your side to ensure that he's making up a lot of mana to get Queen out as soon as possible. So there you have it. That's basically the concept of spreading. If you have any questions about it, just let me know. Until then, if there's anything else I'll come up with, I'll talk about it. But that's the main reason why those opening strategies are a thing, and the main reason why spreading is a thing, and kind of what you should be doing against it. You should always be keeping an eye on where the opponent is spreading. It's not a bad idea to have servants deal with it, but just keep in mind that they're going to be distracted, and it might be a better idea to quickly deal with it yourself, pick them up, and have your servants group somewhere else instead of them being, you know what I mean? Or just go to the other enemy side and counter spread, and just come back and deal with it later. Just to make up the mana difference, because like I said, they're going to have control of these over here while they're spreading on your side, and therefore they're making more mana than you. So that's about it.